We've been going to high schools, all around this country as a part of, stopping military recruiting, but not just like stopping and you shouldn't join, but actually unleashing the students to drive the military recruiters out. Because you have to call them their supply. They're not going to do it. People began to see the whole Bush regime as, immoral and wrong. Students on campuses were like walking out of schools. The CIA would come on campus and students would chase them off. High school students were, including here, and high schools around the area. So it's time to bring that shit back. This is kind of the history. I think that, people forget about, what things were like. But the problem was actually this resistance didn't go far enough, and it didn't actually break out of the confines of appealing to the powers that be. And so this is, what we need to do this time. Because, one of the things that's happened is, look, Obama was the last great hope. And now we're 16 months in, and he's not only just, doing the same things Bush was doing, but he's actually doing more. The whole problem with Obama is that he's able to rebrand this whole program in a way that makes people feel good about it. The protests that happened and the resistance that happened, it was very important, but all of that got sucked out once they put out Obama. And it was a little bit of a trump card in terms of they had to figure out a way how to get people back into the fold again, how to get people back. Don't worry, things are going to be okay. And because Bush wasn't driven from power and because he wasn't held accountable for the things that he's done, his program has become codified. Now people have gotten used to living with a little bit of torture. People have gotten used to bombs being dropped on places in the Middle East, including on Palestine, and this is sort of the ethos and the morality that's been shaped, and we have to go out there and change this. It's not going to come from Congress. We can't actually look there. We're talking about a movement that's so big and so powerful and so sustained that it actually can't be ignored by the powers that be.
This is the reality that soldiers are faced with, that the people of Iraq and Afghanistan are faced with, that the children are faced with, that the people living inside those houses are faced with every single day at the hands of my brothers and sisters. We saw the murder of those civilians. What you can't see is the hundreds of civilians all around that area, inside their homes, cowering under their tables, under their beds. What you can't see is the children that after these troops leave can't sleep at night. What you can't see is the raw sewage flowing into the streets from where the tanks have run over sewage lines. This is real. And it's happening every single day. And this is but one example in a mountain of crimes that are being done in all of your names that I was complicit in. That I am less of a man for having not resisted while I was in the military on active duty. I'll say that again, because I think a lot of people in this country feel like the U.S. Army is someplace to go and make a man of yourself. I am less of a man today for having served in the U.S. military. These wars are racist. They're genocidal. The kinds of trainings that soldiers are going through to be capable of these horrors are real, are systematic, are well thought out, have been researched for over 200 years. Because this is nothing new to the United States of America, folks. This is nothing new. We have been doing this since our foundation. Everything we have, we've stolen. It took me a really long time to grasp this, especially having gone through the military and been traumatized by it, and then to come home and be wrapped in an American flag and told that I'm a hero. I can't ever get back what the Army took from me. I'm sorry. That's taking the responsibility off myself. I can't ever get back what I gave to the Army. It is dehumanizing, physically, emotionally, mentally, sexually. our soldiers are being trained as predators, and they are being set loose on civilian populations that never even attacked us in the first place. I can't live with this. I can't live with it. I don't know how people in this country live with it. I don't know how the Iraqis and the Afghans live with it every single day. The mission statement of the U.S. Army is to engage and destroy. To engage and destroy. There is no nation building. There is no humanitarian operations. The mission statement of the U.S. Army is to engage and destroy, and that's what we are doing. And when you turn that force loose on a civilian population, as we have done in Iraq and Afghanistan, it is called genocide. And it is a war crime. And the people of Iraq and Afghanistan have had their countries gutted by our force. Absolutely gutted. This is real, people. And it's not going to stop. It is not going to stop until we do something about it. Until we liberate ourselves from our subservience to genocide. We have had our wills subverted over and over again, but we can forge the kind of movement capable of ending these crimes now and forever. We gotta do something. I feel we have not built the kind of movement that the government finds to be threatening. You go to peace rallies, you go to peace marches, and you see people marching around with American flags. That makes me sick. The American flag, to me, is a very particular brand of slavery. I was property of the U.S. government, and that flag was my master. And that's one of the reasons why about a month and a half ago, in front of 5,000 people in Washington, D.C., in front of the White House, I burnt that symbol of slavery. You go to peace rallies and you see people holding up signs that say support the troops. Can you really support the troops and not support the war? No, you cannot. And I say this to you as a former troop. You know why these soldiers are over there doing this? Beyond the fact that they've been dehumanized to the point where it's capable, where they are capable of doing this? It's because they think that you support them. Because all they hear from the American population is, don't worry about it, GI, we support you. This is a recipe for endless war. If the troops knew that they were not supported, they would stop deploying and committing war crimes. This is a message that takes a lot of courage to represent in our current society. But knowing the realities, children, knowing the realities, we have a responsibility, not just to the Iraqis and to the Afghans, but to the young men and women who are going to carry this out. They don't want to be there. War's not a fun place. It's not, kicks. It's horrible. It's hell. But they're doing it because they think people support them. If you guys want to support the troops, you got to tell them the truth. You got to tell them that they're involved in genocide. You got to tell them that you don't support what they're doing. And you got to tell them that you don't honor the warrior and you don't honor the war. Be honest. Offend people if you have to, because that's the only way to save them.